3 pre-seasons in a row where Boro have had different managers in the dugout. Michael Carrick, Rob Edwards and Kim Hellberg, but one thing has remained. It's us four chatting for your entertainment. I'm joined by Boro fan Dana Mall, Maple Leafs fan Tom Green, and fourth official fan with no quiff, Matt Rowney, to give you all of the Boro Match Day chatter in a podcast. And guys, we've had our first game of the season already against Wrexham, with Boro winning 1-0. Tom, me and you went together and it was a lovely experience. How did you feel to be back at the Riverside?
Well, first off, I think I've just realised that this is also the third pre-season in a row. I've got a different background, so I need to stop moving houses, and hopefully this time's for keeps. But yeah, Friday night at the Riverside. Happy to be back, to be fair. I know during the Espanyol match, we both paid for the match pass on mfc.co.uk, and we were texting during it, and I look at those friendlies and I'm just kind of like, I'm not really that bothered, because when they don't open all of the ground, by the way, I know there's reasons not for doing it, but yeah, it just feels a bit rubbish, and I wasn't really interested. And then it gets to the cup match where they've still not opened the East Stand anyway, and I was like, you know what, let's go. I had enough of a good time watching the Espanyol match that I will go. So yeah, we sat in the West Stand. I think it was just in front of Maddo and Rob Law. We literally couldn't be any closer to the BBC Tees commentary team, and it felt really nice to be back at the Riverside, and obviously nice to see a win to kick it off with. It would have been rubbish if we'd seen a loss, and I feel like my records in the last couple of years of going to see first, second round Carabao Cup games hasn't been great. I think the last one I can remember is the Stoke 5-0 and just walking out of that bitterly disappointed. But yeah, I always like those kind of summer night games at the Riverside early season. And to top it all off, obviously we played some decent stuff at times, bits of improvement to be made. Obviously, people still to come back into the team. Got to see some of our new signings and was generally impressed with what I saw. So, yeah, all around, good vibes on Friday night.
It was indeed. It was good vibes, wasn't it? You know, we had a little pre-match pint as well with Nathan Salt and his sister, and it was nice. It was just a nice little pre-match, get together, and we end up going to the ground. And then I can understand why you'd be out of breath when you have to go all the way up to the West Upper when you have to commute from the east.
Jonny, those steps. Oh my God, those steps are bigger than any other set of steps in the whole stadium. They're bad.
Yeah, well, I thought it was quite nice that they give you a bit of like complimentary oxygen on there when you get there as well. So I thought it was always quite nice.
You don't need to go to the gym. Just hold off. Just go to the Riverside. Just go up to the West Stand. You're fine. Get your cardio in.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, you could just do a hill sprints with those steps, honestly, and the cardio would be insane. But then to give them your assessment as well, obviously a 1-0 win, you're very, very happy, of course, that Boro progress. And yeah, what did you think of it? What do you think of it too?
Yeah, I thought we were okay. I mean, there's obvious signs of rust there, I would say. There's still newness in the team, still trying to kind of readjust to firstly losing our best player in Hayden Hackney and just having certain elements in the side be worked upon. And I mean, Kim Hellberg said his second season is always better, and I think it's good to kind of have that flag in the sand of this is the first iteration of the new chapter, the first version of the new chapter, if you will. And I thought, going forward, you've obviously got Boro dominating possession and making sure that you've got those close-knit combinations. I really quite liked the look of the kind of triangle between Britton and Whittaker, and then Berhalter as well in that half space. He really impressed me, actually, Berhalter. He was everywhere. He had one of those roles on the side, the kind of more of the free role. I mean, in terms of the setup, I thought this was quite interesting. Obviously, Wrexham have a back three, back five, so it remains to be seen whether or not we'll see this in action for the season. But you had Melander obviously operating in that number 6 position. He was like the tip of the build-out triangle, I'm going to call it, between himself, Borges, and Ayling. Ayling and Borges, obviously the two centre-halves. You had Arfson kind of in the left-hand half space, and he was kind of underlapping Sarmiento. The two would switch every now and again, but it was mostly Arfson, a little bit less kind of aggressive and kind of forward thinking as Britain, although I think he definitely grew in the second half in that regard. We're just tucking in a little bit. Sarmiento, Whittaker very high, and then in the middle, obviously you've got Britain behind Whittaker, by the way, just kind of operating either underlapping or overlapping, switching between that kind of approach. Berhalter was kind of everywhere, but mostly operating in that right-hand half space. And then, really interestingly, Lancashire was kind of operating. It was kind of occupying the left side of centre-back, which was Callum Doyle in this case, and it allowed Castledine to float between Viner and Hyam, the middle centre-back, and then the right centre-back. And I think that's quite interesting because, you know, with Lancashire, he's obviously he's one of those players. I mean, I've wanted Lancashire at Boro for a while now. I wanted him before he took that first loan move to West Brom. And he's somebody that I think, you know, invest stocks in him. He's one of those players on an ascent, and I think only going to get better in a better side. But Castledine is very interesting, and I've got a slightly bold prediction before the bold prediction that he will end the season in better fettle than McGree. And it's no slant on McGree's talent, because he's obviously a talented footballer, and I think if he was fit, simply put, he wouldn't be at Boro. But his availability is pretty poor, isn't it? And I think that with Castledine, probably a little bit more of a goal scorer there, and somebody that I would back in front of goal more than McGree. I think he could end the season as the more fancied number 10. But we'll see. I mean, that obviously is very much asterisked by McGree's fitness, and hopefully, fingers crossed, touch wood, he stays fit. He's injured at the moment, of course, but hopefully he's back. Yeah, I thought we were all right. Defensively, a little bit frailties there, but you've also got to factor in that I don't think Borges and Ayling will be the kind of centre-back pair in this season. Few positions to be worked on. Goalkeeper obviously brought in Vitek. Bryn made a really good save actually at one point in the game, so a bit of a confidence boosting performance for him. But yeah, thought it was okay. It was good to see us. It was good to see us despite that fugly home kit that I'm going to blame for anything that goes wrong this season.
I think it's the best kit I've ever seen. Don't you agree, Tom? I think it's the best red kit I've ever seen.
I'd have been wearing it today if I didn't wear it on Friday. I love that kit so
Burn
much.
it.
Yeah, it's the best kit I've ever seen.
Gonna have to tag
You
team
two
this
are
one.
inspiring. Yeah.
We're just gaslighting. Everything you say, we'll say the opposite. But to be fair,
I love
gonna
that kit.
There was a split second, right, when me and Tom actually agreed on a Boro shirt. We both didn't like it.
What a
and
day
then
that
Tom
was.
turned heel. And we're back to normality now. Just having polar opposite opinions, but at least the badge looks nice. The badge looks banging. The kit, yeah, the kit's not great.
Hey, look, for as fugly as you think it is, they're still selling out. So,
Shiite. Yeah, well, I mean, you could literally have a fucking dump and someone will buy it if it's got the Boro badge on it, especially for the 150th anniversary. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah, hey, just saying, still selling out. But it is what it is. But yeah, I was going to say to your point as well, I think, on the game stuff. I thought it's second half as well. You could definitely see the fullbacks could play a little more narrow as well, couldn't you? Miranda dropped back a little bit more, and it just felt like it was a bit more compact, so you weren't getting caught in transition as much. Where I thought the first half, the space between probably the midfield and the defence was quite big. And then obviously you cause those overloads, and then obviously you'd see them get the ball forward, which I was very concerned in the first half when they were creating those chances, and I was like, oh God, it's like, here we go again. Like, we have this
It was
big
on the
chance.
transition, wasn't it?
Yeah. And it happens really, I think, sometimes in those positions, when Callum Doyle's moving forward, Lancashire can't always occupy him. But then on top of that is where you also have, like, when they do turn the ball over, they've got probably bodies in front of you because we try and play through the lines, don't we? So, but I think, it was the old classic WM, wasn't it? Or the WW at times. So, love a bit of the old-fashioned football formations that comes into it. But Matt, talking about Will Lancashire, scored a lovely acrobatic goal, puts his tally to 1 of the season, prolific, some might say, 1 in 1. How would you sum up his performance?
Yeah, well, without getting carried away, I think he could be the reincarnation of R9 Ronaldo. I think he's a fantastic signing. I know we'll get onto the recruitment sort of thing a bit later on, but I think firstly him getting off the mark this quickly is important. Getting that first goal, the monkey off the back, I guess, and help him settle in a little bit more. It was a fantastic finish as well to top it off. Lovely acrobatic goal. I thought to myself when we scored, was there a player in our team last season who would have finished that chance? I don't think so. I think they'd have took a touch.
They wouldn't have connected with the ball, Matt.
Yeah, they'd have missed the ball. It'd have gone over or whatever, but it was a lovely finish. And his movement as well in the build-up to the goal was nice as well. He just sort of dropped back a couple of yards from the defence to give himself the room to finish as he did. And he could have had a few more as well. I think he's a great all-round centre-forward and is the exact sort of missing piece of the jigsaw that we were lacking last season. You know, he made some good runs in behind, had a couple of opportunities, 1v1. He had a left-footed shot after he was played through that just went over. He also sort of hooked one with his right foot outside the box, which from where I was sat, it looked like it was going in. That was another good effort. He could have had a few. He had a header as well, first half from across. So he's a threat in the air. He's a threat in behind. He's not afraid to come deep and link up the play as well. I've got no qualms with Will Lancashire at all. I think he's going to be a really, really big player for us if he can stay fit. And I think with a lot of our signings, he's not only a great player for now, but he's a great player going forward because he's only going to get better. I'm absolutely over the moon that we've signed him and he's hit the ground running. I thought he played really, really well. And just to have that focal number 9 up top is really good. And I also thought in the Espanyol game, which I went to, he was always in the right place. We were putting a lot more crosses into the box and he was always on the end of them, trying to get in the end of them. Players were looking for him, trying to find him, and he was always in the right place at the right time. He obviously had a goal disallowed in that game as well after a good cross from Berhalter. So I think he offers us a threat in the air. He offers us a threat in behind. He's good on the ball. I'm really excited by him. And if he stays fit, I think we could be on to a winner with Will Lancashire. So, delighted with how he started his overall Boro career, and I thought his goal was absolutely excellent.
I just want to pick up on something you said there, Matt, the Berhalter crosses. I've noticed from him that right-hand half space, I love the half space. I think it's such a dangerous area, especially for crosses. We saw it, I hate to mention it, but the England-Argentina game, they absolutely toyed with us from that right-hand half space. It's such a dangerous area because effectively the fullback doesn't know whether to go, the centre midfielder doesn't know where to go. It causes a bit of indecision. I think Berhalter's deliveries there was a mix from the Wrexham game, but there's potential in that, especially with Lancashire. There was a point where he linked up with somebody and then made a run and arced it into the box at the far post, then connected with, I'm pretty sure it was Berhalter's cross. So that's something that I think we should look at for this season. I just want to say as well how comforting it was to see us miss our first big chance of the season within the first 6 minutes. I thought, wow, we're so back.
It was, honestly, I remember seeing it at Tom at the time. I was just like, oh, Melander's free. And you could just see him peel off. And I thought, I was about to go, yeah. And I was like, oh, I'm say, great. Get back on the oxygen.
It was some experience sitting next to you on Friday because it was like Mystic Jonny or something. You'd say something and then 2 seconds later it was happening. It's like, oh, Melander's free as a shot. He's like, Arston's there for the big switch. Big switch happens. Sarmiento's going to give the ball away. It happens. Like,
I can vouch for that. Sitting next to him every home game, it's a gift. It's a gift he has.
I also wanted to just pick up on somebody. Matt and Dana mentioned this as well. Calling it an acrobatic goal. Are we sticking with that? Because he never actually left the ground. I saw Sky Sports describe it as that in the YouTube stuff. I was like, he kind of fell over backwards, and I'm not. I think my bar for acrobatics a little bit higher than that.
It was agile, wasn't it? But I don't think it was acrobatic.
Agile, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like he slipped on a banana skin, wasn't he? And he's slowly working his way back, in slow motion. I mean, I'd call it acrobatic because I can't do that now. I'll probably pull a hamstring or something. So, I might
you do that before.
Yeah, well, I can't do it anymore.
There's many hamstrings ago, but
yeah. So yeah, I don't know, but I was going to say across the game as well, there was quite a few good performances. I thought, you mentioned it, the half space there with Berhalter. It's so hard when you play that 5-3-2 or 3-5. It's so hard to get across when you're in that midfield, and when you just pull out a little bit, you can just whip it across, can't you? And it's worked so well. He's got such good distribution, does Berhalter, doesn't he? He seems very, very exciting and also very, very good at the PR as well. Absolutely loves the PR. But was there anyone else that you guys were pretty impressed by? For me, I really liked Leo Castellini. I thought he was excellent on Friday. But also, I'm dare I say it, second half, I thought Jeremy Sarmiento was the first glimpse of him thinking, you know what, there might be something there. And he's had a pre-season. Not going to say he's going to pull up, pull trees and do all these amazing things and become the best thing since sliced bread. But I was like, you know what, that was quite a good performance, Jeremy. And I'll leave it as that. But was any other players for you guys that stood out?
I'll second Castledine. He's impressed me all pre-season, I'll be honest. I think he was my man of the match when we played Celtic. I thought he was excellent against Espanyol. And he was really good again. I noticed a couple of times in the first half against Wrexham, he was really good at winning the ball back as well. Instantly trying to press and get possession back. He's just looked like he's gone up a level, so far at least. And I second what you said earlier, Dee, and I think Johnny's mentioned it before as well. I just think it's going to be a big season for Castledine. I can feel it. I can feel he's just going to come on leaps and bounds. Berhalter as well is another one who I thought was really, really good. He looks like he's settled in really quickly, to be honest with you. And it's another key thing about Boro's recruitment as well, is just getting these players in as early as they have done, so they have these games to sort of settle. Berhalter's been another one. I've already talked about Lancashire. I thought there were promising signs with Arvston, although obviously he has only been in the country a few days. I thought he had a promising looking performance. And Melander's looked very, very tidy pre-season so far, even though he has been playing sort of in the midfield. I would like him to obviously drop back into the centre-back pairing with maybe Alfie Jones if everyone's fit. But Melander's also, I thought, looked pretty good so far in the role he's sort of been shoehorned into. So I'd say there's been plenty of positive performances from quite a few players. There's not been anybody I would look at and say have worried me. So, if this is the start of a lot of these players settling in, then I think they're hopefully going to be in for a good season.
Oh, I thought I'd leave the space just to see if anyone. I thought I'd leave the space if anyone was interested in saying that anyone else impressed you. But Tom was going to say, is there anyone?
Arvston, I thought looked pretty decent. Looks very two-footed as well, which is really good. Really good footwork, and it's nice to kind of have some sort of balance there on the left-hand side now, which I think we've lacked for. It wasn't even just a thing last season. It's been seasons, I think, since we couldn't sign Ryan Giles on a permanent. I think even when he came back, he didn't necessarily offer that same impact as what he did in that first spell. But we've tried obviously many replacements. Bangura showed glimpses of being that replacement for approximately 2 games every season. Now we've got someone for balance to that right hand side, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of him. I'd also like to just say that for me, Sol Bryn stood out as well. He looked like he was playing with a bit of a point to prove, and we were having a conversation about it at the match, Johnny. It was like he's obviously going to have been beating himself up about Wembley. There's obviously going to have been conversations between him, Hellberg, anyone else in the club who needs to be in those conversations about the reasons we're signing Vitek, what it's going to look like for him next season. And I also think the fact that he's a Teessider, all his family and friends are here, he's not going to be able to escape the fan reaction, the local media reporting that we've been after a number one keeper all summer. And, I think that could probably affect his mindset a couple of ways. And for me, his performance on Friday looked more like it was affecting him in a positive way, more like it's a challenge that he's trying to rise up to. And yeah, obviously I'd expect to see Vitek start against Lincoln, but I'm interested to see what Solbrun does this season, because it doesn't look like it's going to have hampered him. It looks like his reaction's more on the positive side of things.
Yeah, I would say with Bryn too, like, and just from what we were saying, like I think he just needs to be selfish really with his career. Like there's, when we did our ranking video and we spoke about Bryn this year, like there's clearly development things that he needs to work on. I thought his footwork is just something that every goalkeeper needs to get to that next level. And then on top of that as well, his numbers just weren't particularly great last year. Like, if you are a promotion chasing team, you're going to have to address that position. But it goes across everyone, right? If someone is available for the right fee and it can upgrade your squad, then you absolutely do it if you want to get promoted in this division. And Boro have done it. Like, it's as simple as that. And I think we're all, like, in terms of being selfish, what do you think is going to be best for you in your career, right? Do you think it's best being number 2 this year? Do you want to be a number 2? Or do you want to go out on loan somewhere and play games and develop even more and try and get past over 200 games over like the next season and a bit? Because he's already on over 150 that he's played. And then on top of that as well, do you want to go somewhere else permanently and try and fight for that position longer term? It's entirely up to him on what he wants to do, really. But I think for me, Boro had to upgrade the position. I still think that he's a player that has a lot of development to make. And then probably thirdly, I just can't see him displacing Vitek this year. I just can't see it. I really, really can't. But it's stuff that, that he just needs to keep developing on, really, especially that footwork aspect of it. But yeah, I agree with you on the day, on Friday. Nothing wrong with the performance. Made a couple of good saves, was where he needed to be, and it's exactly what you want. It's from a goalkeeper, really, isn't it? So, but let's move on. Let's look ahead to the first game of the season, really, because Boro are playing at a packed out Riverside, I would say. It's going to be a sellout by the looks of things. Guys, how are you feeling about the upcoming season? Because there's a lot of excitement, a lot of signings, a lot of pressure on us now. Middlesbrough are spending hundreds of millions, if not billions and trillions, by the sounds of it. But yeah, is that reflecting with you guys? Because I know it took us a while to get back up to speed with this season. Very exhausted after last year. Our country probably didn't help us even more with the just the performances they put up against Argentina. But how are you guys feeling now? Are you feeling a little bit more excited?
I feel re-energized. I mean, after that World Cup game against Argentina, I just fell into a pit of depression, to be fair. Like, I think football just takes a lot out of me, and especially after last season as well, the way they ended, the way they concluded. Yeah, I think I was emotionally spent. So I needed time to just disconnect, and just looking at the signings that we've made from a more like disconnected standpoint. I mean, I logged out of Boro, to be honest. I logged out of our socials. I logged out my own socials. I just took a step back and just viewing the way that the summer's progressed from that kind of distance. Just looking at the signings we've made, and you cannot dispute that Boro are being backed this summer. Like, we mean business, and I think that's really exciting. And so I'm just reconnected. I'm excited. I'm intrigued to see how Kim Hellberg's Middlesbrough do this season. I just hope that it doesn't fall flat, because I think Boro are building a really good team, but are they building a good squad? We've seen it last season. We've seen it for far too many seasons that we will get ravaged by injuries at some point. It's inevitable. So when that happens, if Will Lancashire gets injured, can David Straddick step up? If Berhalter or Morris get injured, can Miles Peart-Harris step up? Can Malanda maybe step up in that midfield position? I mean, I don't think he's going to stay there for the season, but still, this is the thing. It's like those options that can step up in place of the players that, are in their set positions all season. Can they be just as good? Because I think our ceiling's very high. I'm not sure on our floor. I'm not sure on the squad depth options and how good they will be throughout the season. So I'm intrigued, but I'm excited. And I think that's enough for me to be kind of reconnected into Middlesbrough. I'm sure I'll be booting a brick wall in the next week or so. And then some Southampton fan will probably stick me in ChatGPT crying at Wembley or something.
Hey, well, it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. Most Southampton fans are desperate for revenge this season. It's all about them. It's all about them. But
Oh, I'm not
let's have a
looking
look at the
forward to that.
signings. Oh, I know. Well, they're going to be there or thereabouts, aren't they? But let's look at Boro's signings because we did make Sarmiento permanent. Seb Berhalter, Max Arston, Will Lancashire, Miles P. Harris, Carl Joseph for Tech, and then Ash Phillips is set to sign. Put him in there anyway because it looks fairly done. And then there's hopefully more to come as well. Boro said they're not finished yet, but that could also be the. Which team was it that said it? We're not done yet, and then they announced it was like 2
It was
signings.
Leeds.
It was at Leeds.
Yeah, it was Leeds.
So you never know. We might be doing some of that, to be fair. But Tom, just talk to me about Will Lancashire because will he be the jigsaw piece that Boro have needed to get themselves over the line?
I certainly hope so. And I would say the acrobatic, non-acrobatic goal that he scored on Friday, it's probably the type of goal that we were missing last season. Like I said to you at the time, can you imagine Strelic or Conway being in that position and scoring that goal last season? Because I can't. He's hopefully going to be that one who's going to add those goals in. And considering the amount of chances that we created and didn't take last season, I think we've needed someone to be in those positions to take them. My only worry is depth. It's if he needs a rest, God forbid he be injured or anything, can Strelic come in and do that? I have thought Strelic's looked better when I've seen him in pre-season. The limited times I've seen him, but Lancashire, I would see being the starting striker pretty much all season, as much as we can get out of him, really. And yeah, hopefully that he as well as a couple of other players, maybe he's the missing jigsaw piece, but maybe a couple of other players are expanding the jigsaw, if that makes sense. Like Max Arston, Berhalter crossing in from that half space, creating chances that we weren't really creating as much of last season. Maybe it's just adding extra dimensions to us this season. And then I think as Dane has mentioned, you need the depth to step up when they can't do it.
Yeah, I've got no complaints about the transfer dealings we've done this summer. I mean, we were crying out last year, weren't we? Just back Kim Hellberg, just back him. And this has probably been the most ambitious transfer window that we've had since we came down with Gary Monk. Whereas this time, I think it feels like we're a little bit more aligned. We've got a talented coaching team there who've been in for the majority of last season. Already did a good job last year with tools that arguably weren't his. This is what we wanted, and we mentioned and listed a couple of positions that desperately needed filling. I think we were all pretty much in agreement that it was both boxes last season where Boro were letting themselves down. We were good creatively. It was just finishing them chances that we were, poor with. And then obviously, as we said, with sort of Bryn's numbers, we weren't giving up barely anything. I think our XG against number was amongst one of the best, if not the best in the league, and yet we still were conceding goals that we shouldn't have. So I think both boxes were where Boro needed to improve. We've gotten in our number one target centre forward with weeks and weeks to go before the season starts. We've got a goalkeeper in who is probably the best goalkeeper we could have got out of the Championship last season, from the ones that weren't promoted. I think only sort of Zetterstrom from Derby's numbers were sort of up there with Rushworth, and Walton was he the Ipswich keeper. So I think Boro, to be fair, have not only got the best, and well, the journalists have said number one targets in striker, midfield, goalkeeper, but they've got them in quickly. They've got them in time. We're not scrambling around like we were last summer with David Strelec, who I think came in, didn't he, a couple of games into the season. We've got them in. We've hopefully given them time to settle in, bed in, and hit the ground running instantly when the season starts. And we saw last season, didn't we, how whether it was a little bit fortunate with Edwards' style of play, it wasn't sustainable, etc., but how good and useful a strong start is. And I think we've gave ourselves the absolute best chance of hopefully doing that with the signings we've made. I've got absolutely no issues with it. Obviously, there was a lot of disappointment around Dale Fry leaving, but I think Ashley Phillips will probably be an upgrade. He's younger, he's fitter, he's got probably a higher ceiling. He offers just as much of an aerial threat, I would say, as well as what Dale Fried is. I think he's 6'4", Ashley Phillips. So he's another player who's good for the now, but good for the future. And then, yeah, Arvston is more fitting in with Hellberg's style. Jonny, you spoke a lot last season about Matt Targett and how you were just sort of at times in the North Stand screaming for him to just push up, just get up that little bit higher. Arvston will do that. I think we've filled in them gaps really well. But then, yeah, my only concern is exactly like Dana's. It's a squad game, isn't it? We saw last season it's all good having a good core of 14 players, but you're going to need the squad at some point. And I just hope that the players that we've got in behind, Carl Joseph's one, Per Harris is one, can Sarmiento step up? They're the question marks, and Strelitz is another one, of course. So that, I guess, is something we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, and I'll add to it as well. I think before we move into like Boro's depth in more detail, I think for me, I just love how they've upgraded all aspects of the game, really. I think you're looking at in possession, you're seeing players who definitely still fit Boro's system. I don't think we'll see much tweaks, to be fair, from the previous year. I think we're a very system-based team versus like one specific player. I think Hayden Hackney, yes, he was the star of the show last year and he was the heartbeat of the team, but I think him leaving doesn't really change too much. You could probably see against Wrexham, the build-up is still quite similar. The way that Mills want to play is still very same. You have much better profiles of players who will definitely bring more out of Kim's style than they have done in the previous year. And on top of that as well, out of possession, that intensity out of possession, it makes a huge difference. I think one of the benefits of a Sarmiento is that he recovers the ball quite quickly. Same with Max Arvston. The same with Kyle Joseph. Miles Harris is very, very athletic. Same with Will Lancashire. That 6-second turnover, try and get a high regain, turn the ball over and get the ball into the box will work really well. And then you've also got the aspect of height in the team. So set pieces look a lot better this year. Seth Bahota is a really good dead ball specialist. So I think every aspect of it is working in Boro's favour. And I definitely echo all your guys' points on depth. I think Boro do need more of it and how to go a step further this year in implementing that. But even the detailed video that I did on our channels, I think it's just quite proven that yes, Boro have definitely increased the ceiling, but also they're upgrading the floor too. And I think it's really, really good to see that Boro have invested in Hellberg, because I feel like it would have been such a missed opportunity if we didn't. I think he is the gem in all of it, really. And I think if he was to leave tomorrow, yes, Boro still have a really, really good squad, but I just think Hellberg gives it that elevation where I don't think other managers sometimes can. But for me, yeah, I'm really, really pleased with Boro's business. I think every signing that we've made so far has been a really good one. And even with Miles Harris as well, I looked at him at Swansea, and he is such a different player to what he was when he was at Oxford. Like when he was at Oxford, he'd get the ball, he'd hold it up, and then there was literally Will Lancashire, who was like 20 yards away from him, and everyone else is camped in their own box, not willing to move. So how can you assess someone's qualities from that? You can do like out possession stuff, but when he was at Swansea, he was really good, especially receiving the ball on the half turn, drive yourself forward and get the ball behind. And I think we'll see that this year. And it's nice that everything's just piecing together quite nicely, to be fair.
Yeah, I just want to jump in on the point around the kind of athleticism that underpins this Boro side, and also the high regains, which is something that Kim Hellberg really wants. Winning the ball back quickly after losing it. I think that's a potential benefit, but the drawback of it, and I think we've kind of seen it in the last pre-season game and then the Wrexham game, and it's something that Phil Parkins had actually said, noted as well. It's just on the transition we're a little bit suspect. I think at times maybe against Wrexham we got our press a little bit wrong. I mean, Phil Parkinson said, just to quote, "We watched Middlesbrough against Espanyol and saw that they like to have the ball but can be vulnerable on the transition. And I just think amid all of this excitement, just to temper it a little bit, I think there will be teething issues, and we might see a few issues on the transition come the start of the season." So yeah, but that could change obviously with personnel. I don't know, obviously we'll get into squad depth in a sec, but I don't know what the pairing is going to be at centre back this season. We've got some options down, haven't we? So yeah, I'll be interested to see what the what the partnership will be.
Yeah, I'm not sure on the team yet. It's only Sunday, but I've got options. I've actually got options, Dawn. I've got options. Well, let's have a look at the squad depth then. So, Boro's depth then, if you are watching us, you've noticed that Middlesbrough's team is on the screen. If you listen to us, we've got Middlesbrough's team on the screen. So, if you don't see, I'm sorry, I can't help you. But we're going to go through Boro's depth and have a look to see where we need to add things, take away things, and do all those fun things as well. And just to give you a note as well, Finn Cartwright, I put him on the right-hand side. We've had a massive debate about it. But I think he is someone who can play across all of it. But I just put him there because it was aesthetically pleasing. So we will debate that at another time. People can go for it anyway. But Matt, I'll come to you first. Looking at this, how many firstly, are you happy with Boro's squad so far? And two, how many signings do you think Boro need to make it perfect?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm happy. I mean, in places, yeah, but there's definitely work that needs doing. Still, I think right back is the first that I look at, and I think that behind Callum Britton, you've obviously got Luke Ayling who can play there, but has already came out before and said that he's not really a right back anymore. And is it Josh Dede? We got him from, was it Celtic?
DD Mega Doodoo.
DD. I mean, feels like he's been here forever, and I almost forgot that he is a Boro player. He did come on, I think, against Celtic, but I don't know how much of a role he'd play. So I think if something was to happen to Callum Britton, obviously with his energy up and down that right-hand side, I think we'd definitely lose out if he got injured. And I mean, yeah, you could say on the other side, Borges is a good backup for Arvston, but in terms of profile, he's a completely different left-back. So we would lose out, in terms of what we'd get going forward if Arvston was to get injured. So I think full-backs were a little bit light. And I would say the same for centre-back as well. I mean, it's a bit of a knock-on from midfield, really, because midfield is incredibly light. I don't see McCabe playing much of a part at all. Kante is still a bit of an unknown quantity, although, there are whispers that Hellberg's been rather impressed by him. And Pert Harris we'll sort of see, but I do think there's definitely a lack of depth in that midfield, and that's going to obviously likely pull Malander into that position, which then makes us, I think, very light at centre-half. I'd love Alfie Jones to be fit for the majority of the season, but we're in a position where I'm more worried he's caught the Tommy Smith, Darragh Lenihan syndrome, where he'll just keep picking up niggles and we'll never see him again. So, I would say across the back line, there still needs to be a bit of work. Midfield as well, I definitely think we need one or two in there. And, yeah, maybe a bit of pace up top in some of the wide areas, possibly, but there's so many players who can play in so many different positions. Maybe it's just more so about the depth options there just stepping up, and whether they do or not, as we said earlier, will Joseph step up if Whittaker's not on form? Same if Conway's injured, with will Sarmiento step up? Will Hansen even be here? And we've already spoke about sort of McGree and his injury record. Can Castledine step up and sort of manage that? I would say up top, though, it is good to see us have them options. Obviously Joseph did play through the middle on Friday night as well after Lancashire went off, so I think we're good there. So yeah, it's tweaking. It's a couple of little bits and pieces, I would say. So maybe 4 or 5 depth options, possibly. Midfield, definitely. Centre back, definitely. And yeah, I would say full back. We could do with 1 or 2 more as well.
I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, although like our bench was a lot of youngsters on Friday night, I was like, when we get certain players back from injury, it's going to be a strong-looking bench, and now I'm looking at it thinking maybe we might be a little bit light in some places. All the noise I've seen in the media is that after Phillips is confirmed, we want a centre midfielder and a pacey winger, and I think that's probably about it in terms of like key positions that we needed to strengthen. That being said, I think there might end up being a couple of like late window loan signings that might fill some gaps, which maybe become a little bit more obvious during the early part of the season. But I think we've done well this pre-season in strengthening the places that we needed to strengthen, addressing certain issues in the team. And you look who's been brought in, like statistically, they solve a lot of the issues that we've had and are genuinely the best options that in most cases that we could have brought in for those positions. I'm also really encouraged by the fact that, as has been reported in the media, we've got pretty much all of our first choice targets. So yeah, I'm happy with the squad as it is at the moment. Like, I'd like the other couple of signings that have been spoken about, and yeah, maybe after that there might be a couple of loan signings, but I don't think we're far off at all.
Yeah, I think it's still in progression, isn't it? I think it's okay as it is, and this is the squad that I'm talking about. The starting 11 it looks really good, but it is just those depth options. I think Borges is marked down on our graphic as a left back, but I think for the last handful of appearances we've seen of him in a Boro shirt, he's been considered more of a left-sided centre-back, hasn't he? So if he stays, he's probably going to be an option between the two positions. I mean, he started the game against Wrexham as that left-sided centre-half, excuse me, and then moved to left-back when Arvston came off. So he's potentially an option there. I still think we need improvements on either side of full-back, so left-back and right-back. One centre-half would be nice, depending on Kante and how he gets on. I think McCabe will probably be gone either on loan or a permanent deal. One or two centre midfielders. I know we've been linked with Jordan James. Alan Nixon was the source of that, so take it with a pinch of salt. But, I mean, if we do bring in Jordan James, then wow, that would be a fantastic signing. But yeah, I think Wolves are also interested in him, so we'll see on that one. But if we could bring in one or two centre midfielders, I think that would be good. And then right wing is one where I'm looking at it, and okay, you've got Joseph there. Really impressed by Joseph against Wrexham, actually, when he came on. I think he could be a very, very handy option for us next season. A bit of a Conway light. But Whittaker behind him, I don't think the options are particularly great. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 6. I mean, we won't get 6 more players in, and I do think we'll probably be finishing our summer business in January, because that's just what we've been doing for the past few transfer windows. So it's okay as it stands, but I'm really, really, really emphasising the squad, because it is pivotal that Boro have options and they're stacked full of quality, because yeah, we'll get injuries, we'll get suspensions. We need to make sure that there's not too big of a difference between this starting 11 that we're seeing: Vitek, Arvston, Melander, Phillips, Britton, Morris, Berhalter, McGree, Conway, Lancashire, Whittaker, and whoever, fills in for those players.
Yeah, and look, I echo your sentiments, guys. I really do. I just think when you look at that, you are a few players short from where you want to be. But also there is players like you are going to expect to leave, right? I think I can't see Sonny Janssen being here at the end of the window. Sandy Dieng's obviously going to go, which is why I probably put him last in the goalkeeping ranking. But yeah, I just think Law McCabe, Kante may go as well. Just Strelic leave. Yeah, Edmondson. Yeah, there's also just a Strelic leave. I don't even know. Like, there's people that can go, and I think it's just who you replace them with is going to be the biggest concern, isn't it? But on the departures lounge aspect of it, how many on this graphic would you guys say would be open to offers and you can most likely leave?
I'd say 5 of them. Dieng, Borges. Borges maybe not. Edmondson, McCabe, Kante, I think I'd say that. Oh, and Hansen as well.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it thinking Dieng or Bryn, and I'm not saying I want to get rid of Bryn. I'm kind of going back to what Jonny was saying earlier about him being selfish with his career. If he feels like he doesn't want to be a number 2 and wants the move to be a number 1 and for more regular football, I don't think we could hold it against him, really, and he'd probably bring in some fairly decent offers as well. That saying, I think out of the 2 of them, I'd prefer that Dieng went. I didn't think Edmondson did too badly on Friday night when he came on. He actually he got his head on something like further up the pitch. It was actually a shot on goal. And Jonny quipped that it was a great defensive header. And I was like, yeah, if he'd have done that against Bristol City, we'd be up by now. But yeah,
honestly, it went further away from the goal, didn't it? He proper glanced it out for a goal kick. I was like, what are you doing?
The cross was closer. But honestly, I thought in defence, I didn't think he did too badly. It'd be nice to see, if he's there as the depth option and he's going to be all right after having a pre-season in the Hellberg team, maybe keep him. McCabe and Cartwright, potentially loans. Obviously, it depends who we bring in centre midfield, and I'm not acknowledging Cartwright as a right winger, but yeah, I think both might benefit from regular football. Hansen, I wouldn't be opposed to Strelic going either if he wanted to go, and if we were going to make our money back on him. That's again not me saying I want him to go or anything, but I think if we were to get our money back on him, maybe there's another option who might fit Hellberg's team better if that did happen. So yeah, there's a list there of potentials. Not all of them I want to see go, but I'm confident in our ability to replace them if we do.
Strelic's an interesting one, isn't it? Because he actually had a really good start to pre-season. He was decent against Celtic. He got himself a goal there. I think he bagged 2 goals in a behind closed doors pre-season game beforehand, and there was a bit of excitement and hope that, okay, maybe he looks a bit leaner, looks a bit fitter, and then we go and spend 180 million on Will Lancashire, as the reports would have you think. I guess that depends on if Strelic is willing to compete for that position. I'd like to hope he would. I mean, competition's healthy for players. I wouldn't want a player to just roll over and say, I'm not the starting centre forward, I'm leaving then. I think having 2 good options up top is exactly what we've been missing, and I would love to have Strelic and Lancashire competing for that position. I think that would be great. I mean, last season Coventry, for example, had Wright and Sims rotating, especially in 3-game weeks. You'd have one coming in for the other, and I think if Boro could do that with Strelic and Lancashire, it would be really good. It would keep one of them fit and sharp, and it wouldn't sort of exhaust one of the players if they were playing every game week in, week out. So I'd like Strelic to stay. I guess it would depend on if he's happy to compete in that position, because we did pay a lot of money for him. I wouldn't be opposed to Hansen staying just because of the options we've got, but I'm not sold on him at all, really. I know he came out and had that sort of bold rallying cry at Wembley last season to say that he's up for fighting for his place, and I guess his training and how he sort of conducts himself, we'll see if that is the case and whether he does come into the team. But yeah, McCabe will be gone. Kante, I'm not too sure actually if just down to the lack of midfield options we've got, we'll keep Kante around. It might depend on how confident we are of how many midfielders we can get in before the end of the season. If we're only going to get one in, I think you probably have to keep Kante if you're going to lose McCabe. I'm happy with Borges, to be fair. I'm quite happy to have Borges as cover for centre-half and or left-back. Edmondson is a funny one for me, though, because I'm not sold on his ability, and I'm not sold on his availability either, because he's another one who is just always injured. So, can you rely on him being a backup option if he's actually never fit? So I would probably try and replace him and bring another centre-back in to sort of upgrade on that. And I think Tom made a very good point on Bryn. We've been trying to shift Senny Dieng for ages, and we just can't. Do you wish Bryn well and say, okay, if you want to go off and be number 1 somewhere else, that's fine. Then you upgrade Dieng to number 2 and then still have McLaughlin as your 3rd goalkeeper, because I don't see us having 4 goalkeepers on the books. But I also just can't see us shifting Dieng either. So do you then have to make up room and say, okay, Sol, if an offer comes in, we'll be open to discuss that, and you then promote Dieng to number 2. I'm not too sure. So yeah, there's 4 or 5 positions that I would be open to leaving, but then I think it would leave us exposed in some areas as well at the same time.
Yeah, I just want to pick up on something you mentioned about Edmondson's unavailability. And I think that's why I think it's a big season for McGree, because we've seen Alex Bangura being shown the door this summer, which I expected that because of his injuries. I mean, I think that Bangura is a good player, and if he was fit, he would be a really good option there, actually, behind Max Arfson, the type of player that he is, the profile he has. But he's just not fit enough. Like, what we've known from Alex Bangura, his legacy as he departs Boro will be that he's just injured too much. And that's why I think with McGree, it's different because McGree's a better player. He's more important than Bangura. But he, too, is also very unavailable. That's why I think it's a big season for him. Obviously, he recently signed a new contract, so I suppose he's got that security. But with Castledine there, Castledyne's more of a goal scorer than McGree. I think McGree got 5 or 6 goals last season, but Castledine got 12 in like 27 appearances for Huddersfield. So he's got that goal scoring knack, he's got that goal scoring touch. With Lancashire occupying that left centre back, if we see that more often this season, that kind of left side could be a real prime position for a McGree or a Castledine in McGree's absence to really flourish. So I think it's a really big season for McGree, and I hope so much, because I love Ryan McGree. I love watching him. I think he's a wonderful footballer, very good on the eye, passes the eye test incredibly, and his influence on this Middlesbrough side cannot be disputed, not by me anyways. But I just feel like with him, his unavailability is a problem, and I think Boro moving away from those players. That's why they were ruthless. They moved on Dale Fry. That's why they've moved on Alex Bangura. That's why they waved goodbye to Darragh Lenihan. So yeah, I just think it's a big season for him. A big season for Berhalter as well, because he's stepping in the shoes of Hayden Hackney, and what I really hope is that Boro fans don't think that he is Hayden Hackney's replacement. I can understand why they would say that, because ultimately Berhalter's the incoming midfielder, Hackney the outgoing midfielder, but they're two completely different players, completely different types of player as well. So yeah, I hope that Boro fans, and I'll do this as well, just judge Berhalter separate to Hayden Hackney and not label him as Hackney's replacement, because I think that kind of does Berhalter dirty, and you're already putting him on a pedestal that he probably won't be able to kind of maintain. So yeah, just 2 notes there on that.
Yeah, and I'd agree with the Berhalter statement as well, dear. Like, even though Boro's like in possession style is going to be tweaked, and I'll probably say they're going to be a bit more direct this year in that build-up phase, but I think, yeah, you can't compare Hackney in terms of like data sets and also on the eye. Boro played through him, whereas this year is going to be a little bit more different, I would say. But yeah, and I'll look at it as well, and I agree with the sentiment on McGree. And then on top of that, like David Strelic as well, it gives you the option to play 2 up top, and you can even potentially say that Strelic might play in that 9.5/10 role, which we think that he kind of is. I think it opens up that options, Don, for him to potentially play in that position. So I do think there's some good movement we can make on this graph. To be fair, I think there's so many players that can play in multiple positions. You can put Conway up top if you want to. Whitaker can play more centrally. Sarmiento can move over to the right if needed. Joseph can play on the left. So going forward, there's definitely those rotations that we can have. But yeah, I agree with you guys in terms of what we need, and then the outgoings as well. Very much echo the sentiment, but there is a player that has been linked away over the last couple of weeks, and it is Morgan Whitaker. West Ham reportedly interest from abroad, and also with Hull 2 in the Premier League, which I can't believe I'm saying that, but it happened. It really did happen. Would you be open with Morgan Whitaker if you got the right fee for it?
I think for a lot of players, if it was the right fee, we'd probably be open to it. I think the last few years for us have kind of proven every player we have has their price. That said, I think it would have to be a really good fee. I'm thinking at least 15 million. I'm not sure about who we'd replace him with, but you know that's thankfully not for me to decide. I'm sure Hellberg has players in mind that he would like on the right hand side, and the scouting team will know of and have a list of players for them. So I've got no worries that we would be able to not replace him, but kind of replace in that position, and it'll probably be a very different profile. But like I say, I wouldn't want him to go, But if we got a decent fee for him, I'm not that desperate for us not to sell him that I would say that we should turn it down and do everything to keep him, because I'm sure there's other options that we could sign there.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. But Matt, do you have a point?
I was just going to say, I think with Whittaker, there's definitely things he offers. I mean, last season his numbers were really good, but he was extremely hot and cold. And if that's the sort of player he is, then I think if we do get a good right-sided player to maybe challenge him, that could be good for him. I mean, I wouldn't be against Whittaker being someone who doesn't start every week but comes off the bench in games and has an impact that way. I think maybe if you take that pressure off his shoulders, he might be better. I think last season we were starting him every week because he was the only real option there. And I just think he's too inconsistent to really sort of rely on him being the starter in that on the right-hand side every single week. I think it would maybe take the burden off him a little bit if there is another player he can compete with. So if we bring in a good right-sided player, I wouldn't be against Whittaker starting some weeks, coming off the bench in others. I still think he's of use in that regard. I just think his inconsistency does just make me worry that if he is the starting right-sided player every week, he's going to be great some weeks, very frustrating the next. He's going to go on runs where he scores. He's going to go on runs where he doesn't. So maybe we'll see what else happens in that position. But I'm in agreement with Tom as well completely. Every player has his price. Not to sound like Ted DiBiase, but every player has his price. And I wasn't going to do the laugh, but yeah. If a big fee comes in from West Ham and we think, right, we can use that fee to, bring in 3 or 4 more depth options, then yeah, maybe that's a good thing. We'll see.
Hey, well, I've just had some oxygen in the West Stand. I needed that breather. You know what I could do with some chips and curry right now? But that's a nice segue. If you would like to donate to the Boro Breakdown, we do have a chips and curry donation. If you would like to, it just helps fund the pod for the season. Guys, most important part of the show. Getting my words right. Honestly, you should have heard me in the outtakes earlier around a certain part, and I couldn't say it. But you won't see that. But all of our friends here on the podcast did. Right, prediction time. If you haven't seen our prediction show before, we have 6 questions. It's where do we think Boro will finish? Who is going to be our top 8 this season? Absolute walk nonsense. And who is going down? The surprise package team of the season. Boro Young Player of the Year. Boro Player of the Year. And what is our bold prediction, which we get hammered for every season, but it's all fun and games. Right, we're going to start off with where do we think Boro will finish? Dana Mall, I'm going to come to you first. Where do you think Boro will finish this year?
I think Boro will finish 4th this season.
Okay, any particular reason why?
We've been doing this podcast for so long, Jonny, so long, and we've not once seen Boro get promoted. So automatic promotion is out of the question for me. I mean, to be fair, the actual reason for that is because I just think that West Ham and Wolves, spoiler alert, are going to be my top 2 this season. I can't see a situation where they don't get promoted automatically. For Boro, I think will definitely be up there, but unfortunately, I think Southampton will come 3rd. The bad guys always seem to prosper, so they probably will this season. And I think 4th is okay for us. Again, it's kind of like the squad game is of the utmost importance to me for my prediction. If by the end of the transfer window I see our squad and I think, yep, it's near perfect, then I'll bump us up. But I think 4th is okay. I don't think it's terrible.
Okay, then, Tom, what is your prediction? Where do you think Boro will finish?
I'm just thinking there, if we finished 4th and then it all works out for a Boro Southampton playoff final, how much would the sports media love that?
Kill me.
I'm actually thinking 2nd. I'm actually thinking we'll finish 2nd. Like I say, I really like our recruitment. I think we've addressed a lot of the areas we needed to. We've upgraded in areas that we needed to. I believe in Kim Hellberg, the coaching staff, and Joe Hendry. And
I was waiting for that.
and you know what? I don't feel like we ever get these predictions right, so I may as well go outlandish with them. And I don't see why we can't do that.
Okay, then. So top 2 for Tom, 4th for Dana Malt. I'm going to jump in and say 4th as well. I was 4th this season. And then for you, Matt, what are you going to go for?
So I'm just like the guy who constantly kept telling us off for being positive last season because of the football gods has just said we're going to finish second. I'm just going to lay that. Has Tom made a deal with the football gods this season or something?
He is the football
gods know
gods.
I'm not being serious.
Oh well, that's fine then. I said 4th as well. 5th's been in my head all summer, but then our recent recruitment has made me bump it up to 4th. But I'm going to be honest, after last season, Boro could sign Prime Lionel Messi. You would not catch me dead predicting us to get promoted in the top 2. I'm not doing it. I'm not going there after last season. No way am I predicting us to get promoted. I'm in believe it when I see it territory when it comes to Boro getting automatically promoted. And well, I mean, I've put us in the playoffs, which would mean we'd have to get through the playoffs, which, as we know in itself, is also something Boro don't exactly do. So, yeah, I'm gonna say 4th. I think it would be a good finish for us, because I do think, cliche, the championship's going to be harder this season, as we always say every summer. But yeah, I just can't bring myself to say top 2. I just can't. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. I was going to say, I said if anyone was watching some of our shows with Simon and Ollie, I did say 5th as of Saturday, and I've changed it to 4th because I recalled negative. So I've bumped us up just to be a little bit more positive on that one. But the next question is the top 8 and who is going down. Matt, I'm going to come back to you. I'm going to stick with you and come and tell me your top 8 and tell me who is going down in your predictions. I can't believe it's 8 teams, by the way. It's just doesn't feel like you might as well predict the whole league at this point. But who are you going to go for?
Yeah, to think we're in a position where a team who finishes 8th and probably 30 points behind Wolves could get promoted in the playoffs is just wrong, isn't it? It's a tap in, it's boring, but I've gone West Ham and Wolves to finish in the top 2. Maybe there's a slight doubt around Wolves, new manager, etc. But if West Ham don't piss this league, something's gone absolutely terribly wrong, in my opinion. If anyone finishes above them, they'll win the championship. So I've gone West Ham and Wolves top 2, and then the six playoff teams, which is just wrong. I know I've said Boro in 4th, but in any particular order, I've got Boro, Southampton, Norwich. I just think they're just going to continue from last season. I think they'll be very good. Millwall, I think it's a disservice to probably not put Millwall in there. Burnley, because the parachute teams always, the cream always rises to the top with them, even if they are going through a bit of a sticky period with exits and stuff right now. And Wrexham, because I just think it'll just happen, won't it? Wrexham will be in the top 8, as it were. So yeah, there's my 6. Oh, I'm going down. Yeah.
Who are you going to go down?
Yeah, I've got 2 of the newly promoted sides. I think Lincoln might be a bit much for them. Bolton, and I've gone Pompey. And I feel bad saying that because I really like Pompey as a football club, but I feel like they've been circling the drain for a few seasons, and they might drop into the bottom 3. So Lincoln, Bolton, and Portsmouth.
Interesting. Good predictions, Matt. Good predictions. Tom, I'm going to come to you next.
I've already said Boro in 2nd, West Ham would be 1st, and then the 6th in the playoffs, Southampton, Burnley, Wolves, Norwich, Wrexham and Millwall. And then I think it's actually fairly similar to Matt. I was thinking maybe Preston could go down, but that's not based on anything other than very loose things that I kind of read on Twitter really about, maybe it's not looking great for them, but I would say Lincoln and Bolton, and then you know what, let's be different and say Preston.
Okay then, and then Boro fan Dynamo, what's going to be your predictions?
Yeah, so top 2, West Ham and Wolves. Agree with Matt. I think if West Ham in particular don't go up, then something's gone very wrong there. Wolves as well. Southampton 3rd, Boro 4th, Burnley 5th, Millwall 6th, Norwich 7th, and spoiler alert for my surprise package team of the season, QPR.
Yeah, I have QPR in mine as well, D. But I'm gonna, I just feel good about QPR. They're my surprise team as well. I just think with Pierce Charles, Tariq Lamptey are two great signings. They've upgraded the goalkeeper situation, which was massive because I think wasn't statistically their goalkeeper was worse than Bryn last year, wasn't it? So
well, yeah, they've had a bad habit of bad goalkeepers, and then we usually sign them. So yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, typical Boro, isn't it? But it's I was going to say they've underperformed, haven't they? But I think they're like front like three of Dembele, Corney, and Roman Borrell, who's also at Middlesbrough. I think it's exciting front three that, you know. I think they're a fun team to watch this year. So I agree with you on that sentiment. But who's your relegated teams?
Relegated teams, Blackburn, talk about circling the drain, Matt. Blackburn have been circling the drain. I think they're a little bit of a... There's always a basket case in the Championship, I think, and I usually predict them to go down. I mean, to be fair, I predicted Hull to go down last season. They got promoted at our expense. So congratulations, Blackburn, on winning promotion of the Premier League. But yeah, Blackburn, Lincoln and Charlton. I think Charlton are poor at both ends of the pitch. Poor shot stopper, underperforming shot stopper in Kaminsky. And up front, just don't rate it at all. So Charlton going down, in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah, cool. I'll start with relegation first. And just to say, because I agree with you on Charlton D, I've got Lincoln finishing bottom, then Bolton Wanderers finishing 23rd. I just think, the quality's not there. And then Charlton is my third team to go down. And then just above them, I've put Blackburn and Preston. Because I was like, oh God, I couldn't really decide because I think they are both of them in Lancashire is going down. Sorry, but I've said my bottom three are Charlton 22nd, Bolton, and then Lincoln. Are my three.
I thought you said Charlton twice for some reason.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, but it's Lancashire. I know it's Lancashire, but everyone keeps saying Lancashire here, there, and everywhere. So that's why it was the joke, guys. I know, I'm aware of it. So my top 8 then, I've gone with, I can't lie, I've gone absolutely rogue here. So this is going to be so wrong. I'm going to get shot to bits for this. But West Ham top, West Ham obviously. I've put Norwich second because I thought really good last year, good underlying numbers, added to the team. Hey, who knows? I put Southampton in third, us fourth, Millwall fifth, Wolves sixth, and then seventh and eighth. This is where I'm probably going to get absolutely lynched. QPR seventh, and Swansea eighth, which is probably not going to happen because they're Birmingham and Burnley 9th and 10th. But I just feel like Burnley, yes, we've got a good team, but a bit unsettled. You don't really know how the manager's going to work. And then with Wolves, I'm kind of like, they just keep... I don't know if I'm reading too much into this, right? But every clip I've seen of Wolves is that they do this really high press, right, against lower performing teams. And then they score, and everyone's like, this is the greatest identity I've ever seen. But as you see in really high pressing football in the Championship, if you play against a team like Middlesbrough or Southampton, you get picked off. And then teams that don't like having the ball and then just start kicking it long, your high press is just finished, isn't it? Let's be honest. So I'm intrigued to see how they do when they play against like low blocks and also teams. So I'm not really sold on them, I can't lie, yet. But I just thought QPR, I know we're going to surprise package anyway, so I'll lead into this. I thought they were really fun and just a bit short last year. And then with Swansea, I don't know. It was one of those things where they had a good manager last year. They look fairly consistent. I was looking at their underlying numbers for the back end of the year, and I was going, you know what? They've got something good about them. I think they're not too far away. The manager was good last year. They've brought in Ross Stewart and think keep him fit. And the Potnick's still there as well. I just think there's something about Swansea, maybe, who knows? Finishes 22nd, and I'm wrong. again. But it leads me quite nicely, though, to the surprise package of the season. Tom Green, I'm going to come to you first. Who is your surprise package of the season?
I think we'll go with West Brom. I reckon they... Obviously, I've done my top 8 and they weren't in it. But I feel like they could be a surprise package this season. And I could see them either finishing just outside that or potentially in it.
Well, I was going to say, I was speaking to Chris from Albion Analysis, and he was saying that you could come to me and say we'd finish 6th or 22nd, and I'd believe you. So it's a fairly good prediction. There could be anything this year. James Morrison in charge, former singer-songwriter, doing his thing in the dugout. Dinner Malt, I'll come to you next. You've already said QPR, haven't you? Matt, I'll come to you.
Yeah, I was nodding when you were saying Swansea, Jonny, because they're mine. Even though they're not in my top 8 of a lot of the teams who I think could break into it, I do like Swansea. Like you, I thought I saw good signs from them last season. I think if Stewart stays fit with Vopotnik, they've got probably 2 of the best strikers in the league up top. In the Championship, and last season their home form under Matos was really, really good. They just massively let themselves down away from home. I think they were like top 4, top 5 team at home, but then were terrible away from home. I think if they can tweak that, keep the home form solid, 2 solid strikers up top, pre-season under Matos, first full season with him. Yeah, I've just got a good feeling. I feel like I always go for Swansea every single season and they let me down every single time. But because the barometer is a little bit lower and it's down to 8th, and their home kit is just so nice as well. That means nothing, but I love it. Yeah, I think they could be
but it's not as nice as ours.
It's so much better than ours.
Tom.
It's so much better than our training shirt, Tom. It's so much better. Yeah, I'll go Swansea.
Okay. Well, I was going to say that they did lose yesterday on Saturday, didn't they, to Birmingham? Was it Birmingham that got beat 1-0 against? So that's probably that prediction right off straight away, which I know it means nothing in the first round of the Carabao Cup. Right. Boro themed. This is where things, are either really successful or these predictions go to die. Boro's young player of the season. Looking at Boro's squad this year, there's not many 30-year-olds in there. So maybe a bit of experience could be needed. But Boro going for that under 25 look this year. Right, but young player of the year, Dana Malt, who are you going to go for?
Boro Young Player of the Year for me this season will be Will Lancashire. I think that he's somebody that, if you haven't invested stocks in him, invest stocks in him. I think he's going to be a really good signing for us, hopefully, because I don't think Boro have been so much of a striker's graveyard over the last couple of seasons that we've been used to. There's always that lingering threat of it, but I just think the way that we play, the way that Kim Helberg's football is, it'll really suit Lancashire, I think. So, yeah, I think he'll really impress. I think he'll get Boro's Young Player of the season.
Okay, then. Maple Leafs fan Tom Green, who are you going to go for?
I'm also thinking Lancashire, but I'm thinking what's the cut-off for young player? Because isn't Vitek only 22?
Yeah, I did say before the show, since that you weren't listening, I said 23.
Yeah.
So if you are, so anyone under 20, you can be 23 and under, or if you are 23 now and turn 24 in the season, I will let you off and have that one as well.
I think it's a bit of a low bar because I'm looking at Luke Ayling here and thinking he's only a year older than me. I wouldn't describe myself as old, so game for young player of the
over
season.
25 category on the X Factor.
Finished. But I'm gonna go for Vitek just to be different.
Okay, then you be different then, Tom, and then Matt, what are you going to go for?
I've been different as well. I mean, I was thinking the same thing. Like a lot of the big signings we've made this season could actually qualify for Young Player of the Season, but I'd probably rather have them as Player of the Season. So I've gone with Leo Castledine. I'm all in. I think Dana mentioned Riley McGree's unavailability. Can I see that changing? No. Can I see Castledine being the one who steps in? Yes. And I've seen very good signs from him so far. So yeah, I'm all in on Leo Castledine this season. I think he's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, I'll jump in there with you as well, Matt, and I'll go Leo Castledine too. I think the stock's high. I really liked him last year, even though he got injured, and it was frustrating really because there was some glimpses on that left hand side where I was like, we've got a diamond here. And it was such a shame for it just to kind of all end the way it did. And I don't think it helped him when we put him up front against Southampton, and he was just like, deer in the headlight. It wasn't great, was it? But it is what it is. I think he could be the one this year. Gets sold to like Plymouth. Right, so the next one is Boro Player of the Year. I'll kick us off here. And I'm going to go Adilson Malanda is my Player of the Year. I just think he's a Rolls Royce of a player, me. I absolutely love him. I thought against Wrexham, he was just amazing. Like, for someone who has so much time on their hands, it's like he plays the game in slow motion, which is always a good side, a sign of a really, really good player. But yeah, I'm going to go over Adilson Malanda. I just think he's just chef's kiss. Like, great player. And what a sign as well from the old Middlesbrough League Soccer league. So, but Dana, who are you going to go for your Boro Player of the Year?
I've gone for Radek Vitek. I think that's a transformative signing, really. It's important both ends of the pitch. Boro have improved both ends of the pitch with Lancashire and Vitek. I mean, I might switch them around. Vitek can get the Young Player of the Season award, and then Lancashire can get the Player of the Season award, because I do think that goals probably speak louder than goalkeeper saves. But I do think that, that's such a pivotal signing for us, Vitek, bringing him in. I actually think that he's the best signing that we could have made this window. Him and Lancashire, of course, but I think both of those will get the awards at the end of the season. So just to change my prediction, Boro Young Player of the Season prediction, Radek Vitek, and then the Boro Player of the Season, Will Lancashire.
Well, with the power of editing, Dana, we can switch it all about, and you'll be right. So either way, you'll be nailed on it. Both get injured out for the season.
Yeah.
So, Tom, who are you going to go for? What's going to be your prediction?
I'm going with Seb Berhalter as Player of the Season. Really like what I've seen from him in the couple of games so far. I think there's a lot of potential there to be like a real key player in the team. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how he gets on this season. Obviously, I liked what I heard when he signed, and the media were saying he would have been our midfield target even if we'd gone up as well. And you can kind of see why. He's definitely got the ability, US international. So I could see him kicking on this season and having a really good season for us.
Okay, that's a good one. We'll set Berhalter. And then Matt, round us off on this one.
Yeah, Will Lancashire is going to be my Boro Player of the Year. Like Dee said, I think goals often speak the loudest in these situations, and I think the 38 goals he's going to score this season will more than bag him the Boro Player of the Year.
Yeah, well, for the £250 million we've paid for him, Matt, you should hope so.
Well, exactly.
Yeah, the first ever £1 billion team in the Championship. We are right.
Bought the league. We bought the league.
Bought the league.
Some will say we are smashing the league.
Yeah. Oh no, that's so screwed. That's so screwed. Right. The most important question of this entire podcast is, what is your bold prediction? Now, we've had some absolute corkers on this show. Dana, yours last year was probably the best prediction we've ever had. I can't lie. You were maybe a few minutes away of it happening, and it all fell away. So it's only right that I come to you first, really, on this one. Or would you like to go last? You have the choice this year. You can lead on this. Who would you like to go first?
Tom can go first.
I was speaking to Jonny about this on Friday, and I said my bold prediction is going to be that Morgan Whittaker breaks Tuba's record this year. But I'm not going to specify which record, Could be the goals record. It could be a completely different record. Could be a vinyl record. But I think as a secondary one, I'm going to say Aidan Morris to get his first Boro goal in the first 10 matches of the season.
Hashtag AM10.
Terrible.
Aidan Morris's first 10,
nonsense.
just in case he is out for a little while longer. But Aidan Morris's first 10 games of the season, he will get at least one goal.
Okay then. Dana, would you like to go on Matt next, or would you like to take this one?
Yeah, Matt can go next. I'll go last.
Okay.
I have said Sebastian Berhalter will finish the season with the most assists in the league. I don't know what you get for most assists. Is it like a golden something? You get a golden glove, golden boot. I don't know what you get for being like the best playmaker.
High five is what you get, Matt. It doesn't really matter.
A golden high five. But yeah, Berhalter with them ridiculous right-footed crosses and set pieces will finish the season with the most assists. And to be even more bold, I think the highest assisted last season was 12. I'm going to go even bolder and say Berhalter finishes this season with 15 assists. Does his ACL in September.
Yeah, never plays again. Right, for me, I've gone. I had two and I couldn't really choose between them. But I did have Will Langshire's breaking Tuba Rakpom's goal scoring record this year as one. I had Vitek winning the Golden Glove as well. Boro actually having a strong defence for a change. They were my two. Which are they bold enough, or are they likely it was happening? You know, do I have to go bolder? I don't know.
Go bolder, Jonny.
If he's still at the club by the end of the season, Jeremy Sammy, I know to score a hat-trick in a game.
Bloody hell, not that bold.
Just see it. Third round FA Cup, you're playing away at home or something to a non-league team. Scores hat-trick. You never know. Might happen. Right, Dana. Ball prediction time. What does Mystic Malt say?
Oh, okay, so I know I said earlier we've been doing this podcast for so long we've not seen Boro get promoted. Well, I think Boro will end their Wembley curse this season. I think we will get promoted via the playoffs, and I think the player that will score the winning goal to get us there will be Aidan Morris. Morris will score this season, and he'll score the goal to send us up.
And knee slides.
Mm-hmm.
Top off.
I mean, I was going to say I'd be keen to know his celebration. He did celebrate that goal that he scored but didn't score because it was totally deflected against Cardiff in his first season. But his celebrations will be a bit rusty. Do you think Hello, we've got Sebastian Berhalter there. They can do that TikTok dance that they did that keeps popping up on my timeline every single time I look at it.
That's the one. You could do that.
That's the one.
You could... And Arfston could be the camera guy instead of like the skateboard that he used. He could be the cameraman. All comes together, All comes together. But look, I think just to add, probably the final question, I would say, which I know we didn't really schedule for, but it's: do you think Boro are going to go up? Tom, you've said yes with your second prediction. Dan, you're saying we're going to get promoted now. Or you said we'll win at Wembley. So is that specifically playoff? Or
playoffs.
You never know, you could win the FA Cup or the Carling Cup.
That should be my bold prediction, shouldn't it? We're going to win the FA Cup. No, we'll get promoted via the playoffs and we will win at Wembley.
Okay, and then for you, Matt, do you think we'll get promoted?
I feel like I'm under so much pressure now because Tom and Dana have basically said yes.
Ready with my pitchfork, Matt?
I'm gonna stick with what I said earlier. I'll believe it when I see it. So I'm not going to give you a yes or no, but I'm going to believe it. I'll believe it when I say it. We blew it
the Tom
3
Green
times
of the
last season. I'll believe it when I see it. That's all I'm saying.
That's a pub quiz question, that, isn't it? Yeah. That's quite impressive from Boro. We knew it. We should have known it was coming. I think we kind of probably subliminally knew that it was going to happen.
I will never be happier to be wrong in my life. I'll believe it when I see it.
Well, I'm going to say yes. We're going to do it. We're going to go this year, and then
I'm public enemy number one.
Yeah, well,
negative.
So Boro going up. You've seen it here first. That's going to get clipped, and it's going to be shared all around the Southampton fans' message boards. Right, let's quickly look ahead and do some prediction time then for Saturday, match week 1 for Boro. Tom, which one do you hate the worst? Hate more? Sorry, is it a game week 1 or match week 1?
Round.
It's round, isn't it?
No, it's
round. Right, okay, so round 1 of the championship begins this season.
It can be game week 1, like FPL.
So for round 1 then, Tom, what are you predicting for Boro versus Lincoln?
For the first game of the season in game week 1, I am going to go with 3-0 Boro in a repeat, hopefully a repeat of the season after our last playoff loss, where we beat Bolton 3-0. I think we go on to beat Lincoln 3-0 first game.
Okay, then. Dynamo, what's your prediction?
Oh, I had a flash of, just go on, predict 5-0. But I don't think that's going to happen. 2-0 Boro. I'm going to go a little bit more conservative. You watch us win 5-0 now.
I'm going to clip that up and say we're winning 5-0. I'm going to go with 2-0 Boro as well. I think 2-0. I don't know why. I could feel like Lincoln might score just a random fluke because it's Middlesbrough.
Adam Reach.
Yeah. Was that what we placed for now? I didn't even know that.
I think so.
Well,
yeah.
It's probably a good time to say that there'll be an opposition show this week. So that's why I'll find out if Adam Reach does play for Lincoln. You will find that out here first. Right, and then Matt, what are you going to predict?
1-0 Boro, Will Lancashire.
1-0 Boro and Will Lancashire. And there'll be chips and curry galore because that's what we do every single match day. But guys, thank you very much for joining me as always. To the listeners and the viewers, thank you very much for joining us too. Our last 2 shows together pretty much surpassing nearly 5 hours. No, 3 shows. Yeah, last 3 shows surpassing nearly 5 hours of content that we've gave you. And if you've listened to all of that, well, you can have a Blue Peter badge. But for right now, this has been the Boro Breakdown Podcast, and that was our Boro Matchday Chat in a pod up the Boro.